Kingdom Hearts has a very, very weird past when it comes to TV shows or movies or any of the scrapped ideas or allegedly scrapped ideas or rumors around these topics. When it comes to media, lost media, and just the idea of things that didn't happen, I love talking about this stuff. So you can kind of consider this a prelude to an episode of Rejected Media I'm going to do on a recovered pilot of the Kingdom Hearts show that originally was going to happen back in the early 2000s. That said, even though this isn't a Rejected Media, we're kind of taking a look at the history around Kingdom Hearts today, because it does tie into that topic where even now there are again rumors popping up of a Kingdom Hearts show, whether it be an anime, a series, a movie, whatever it is. This is a rumor that has persisted for, honestly, off and on like 2 decades at this point. It's been going for a long time. The idea was floated back in the early 2000s, where people would talk amongst themselves on the playground or whatever when we were kids, all the way down to now, where on the internet, it's like every couple of years this pops back up. Now, this, I believe, popped back up in April of 2024-ish, but actually, I've been able to find rumors of this going back to things like the inception of Disney Plus as well. There have been a lot of different people claiming, oh, no, Kingdom Hearts is getting a movie or it's getting a show. This time it's real. And I think it's kind of interesting, even back to 2020 with Disney Plus and all the rumors flying of what would be exclusive. So I want to take a few minutes to talk about this today because I do find it fascinating. And I kind of think the idea of a Kingdom Hearts show or movie, even though it could work, it's almost cursed at this point by like lack of momentum, constant rumors, an actual scrapped pilot from the early 2000s. There's a lot of history to it. If you enjoyed today's video, I'd appreciate if you left a like and subscribed. I appreciate you all very, very much who do so. And I do have a question of the day for you today, which is, would you even want to see this? Genuinely. Like, is this something you think would work or not? Personally, I think there are movies and TV shows that can happen from games. However, unlike movies and TV shows, I think one of the best things about games is their interactivity. So I think that that's one reason why there's often more misses than hits. Now, that said, I already mentioned that there have been rumors about this forever. Now, I can only go back so far in terms of spending time on it to find them, but it is something that I remember being talked about even when I was a kid. Not in like magazines and things like that, but just among fans of the series. So then you fast forward over the years, and there were always Kingdom Hearts rumors. There were rumors about a potential Kingdom Hearts 3. There were rumors that Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance 3D was going to be Kingdom Hearts 3 somehow. I don't know if you remember those. There were rumors about worlds that would show up in Kingdom Hearts or wouldn't. There were faked images. The sky is the limit when it comes to Kingdom Hearts. And I think part of the problem here is secrecy. You know, one thing that's good about Kingdom Hearts is Nomura has said in the past that one thing he does is he does listen to fans. Now, that can be content creators, it can be Reddit posts, whatever. He actually says in the past before, he's said that he's forgotten certain plot points or needed to refresh himself on them or characterizations. So he's done things like watched Let's Plays or watched video essays and things like that about the series that he created. So next time somebody tells you that you're an idiot for not understanding something in Kingdom Hearts and it's not actually convoluted, maybe remind them that even the author of it himself, the director of the entire series, has needed refreshers because things do get complex. And so when you look at a series like this that is so complex, and you look at his involvement, Tetsuya Nomura's involvement, and the fact that, like we covered earlier this year, he could be retiring, in the next decade, and passing the series off to someone else or trying to end it as Disney for sure doesn't let it go, there actually is a precedent of Disney not letting this go, which goes back to that canceled, scrapped pilot. Now, it's interesting because this is from around 2003, and essentially this was like right off the heels of Kingdom Hearts 1 being extremely successful. It was set to be directed by Seth Kearsley, who had developed a pilot to pitch the show to the Disney Channel. However, later on, it was rejected because the Disney Channel, even though they had, Disney had apparently, as far as I'm seeing and researching this, expressed some interest in this. That's why the pilot was originally greenlit. After it was rejected, it just kind of disappeared. It just kind of went away, with the reason being listed for the rejection essentially that Disney had claimed it was too dark, that there was a reason that they couldn't do it, which was that at the time, for the 2000s, it was too dark for them to actually cover. You had things like the Heartless, you had the things like the Heart of All Worlds, you had different things like darkness involving individuals, you had violence, obviously. It's not graphic violence, but I mean, in Kingdom Hearts, people do die and then come back, and then parts of them die, and then they're resurrected, and they can go to heaven, you know, in a lot of ways. Like, there's a lot of weird lore, right, over the years. At the time, they hadn't gotten into a lot of that, but I think just the violence aspect of it for the Disney Channel, they were hesitant. You know, back then, you have to remember, Disney was a company that really didn't want to tarnish their image. Even with different movies like Unbreakable, they would go on to use Touchstone Pictures and other things, and that was just a PG-13 movie. They really wanted to be seen as squeaky clean, even though looking into a lot of their business dealings, they allegedly are not always very squeaky clean. They've allegedly screwed a lot of people. But to the public, they wanted to be seen as the friendly House of Mouse, right? They wanted to be seen as, gosh guys, let's tune into the Disney Channel, check out some fun shows. They didn't need Kingdom Hearts tarnishing that. And that's actually one reason why it's interesting when Kingdom Hearts was originally conceptualized, that it was essentially hard to get the ball rolling a little bit, because there's always been this background Disney element of it, right? Reportedly, and Square is always very, very politically correct about this, like they very much don't want to step on Disney toes, but there has reportedly been a lot of behind the scenes overview of the things that Square Enix has done with Disney worlds. Like, when they use a world, the understanding is essentially that it will end up being reviewed by Disney, because they don't want it to be like you put in Frozen and then Elsa gets shot in the face by a gun or something, right? Like, you'd think at this point they'd trust Square Enix, but apparently there still is a lot of that oversight. Well, because Disney is the actual owner of Kingdom Hearts, the understanding is essentially that they had said, oh, we want this, you know, we want to actually do something with this. But then after they saw the actual premise and they actually saw what it was, they were like, no, this isn't really a good idea, because they had shown interest and then backed out of it, saying, no, Seth, sorry, that's too dark for us for the year 2003 on the Disney Channel. And then it just faded away. But it is interesting to see that this is probably where some of these rumors started. The fact that this did exist, because Seth Kearsley had uploaded some of the original images eventually to, I believe, his DeviantArt, and where, you know, it was work he had done, right? So years later, basically decades later, he was able to put that up. I believe it was found in 2022. There was the unaired pilot actually uploaded. But even before that, there were some images uploaded to the internet of it. Now, when it was uploaded, Disney went after it. They took it down, even though it was a pitch for them from almost 2 decades prior. Disney still sent a removal request for it, which is why for me, making this video, I kind of wanted to look at what other people had done regarding this too, before I take a full look at that canceled pilot, because I don't really need channel strikes on a small channel like this. But it's interesting to look back at that and basically see that this was an idea, and there was manga being published as well of Kingdom Hearts, and even to this day, I believe the creator is Shiro Amano, if I'm remembering the name correctly, because it's something I've read in the past. You know, you still get the occasional Kingdom Hearts manga. There were even some for Kingdom Hearts 3. So it's not that Kingdom Hearts can't be in other media, but you have this history ever since that original rejected pitch, where it's been just hounded by rumors. And when Disney Plus came out, and everyone was talking about the next big thing Disney Plus was going to have, all these streaming services, right? They all have to have something exclusive. So everyone was taking a look at this and saying, oh, what could they do? What could they do? What could they do? And one of the big things floated even back in 2020, like I said, was Kingdom Hearts, a Kingdom Hearts show, a Kingdom Hearts movie, and then silence. Those rumors basically died off again for another 4 or 5-ish years, all the way until around April of 2024, where another insider claimed that they were making a movie or a TV show regarding this premise. Now, again, there are other movies and TV shows that have been extremely troubled as well. For example, there is something like the Metal Gear Solid movie, that was rumored at one point to be a show, but it was supposed to be a movie starring Oscar Isaac that again has not gotten off the ground. That's something I might talk about in a rejected media or a troubled media video almost over on my other channel, Degenerate J. But this isn't the first time that something ended up either in development hell, like that rejected premise pitch, or was just kind of not heard from for years. So when 2024 came along and it popped up again, it was kind of one of those things where a lot of us who enjoy this series, I think, looked at it and said, yeah, I've heard this for 20 years. I've heard about this for 20 years off and on, and I'm not expecting it. So it's something that I think is very interesting to me to look at this history, and there are more in-depth rumors as well that have popped up over the years. I think a lot of the times what ends up happening is the games themselves attract rumors, though, because of that secrecy, like I said, with Nomura and stuff like that. They kind of keep things close to the chest. It's something that I've talked about before on one of my other channels with video game development. I understand that you don't want to leak everything, you want to leave surprise and stuff like that for the player. However, when there is a ton of secrecy, there will always be rumors, and there will always be expectations. I think that's one of the big problems with the video game world in general is it takes so long to make games now that movies can still get done in a few years, but a lot of video games, they're like a 3 to 5 year development cycle at this point. And so over that time, you have expectations building, you have rumors being spread, you have things like this where people are filling in the gap, trying to find something to focus on, like, oh, well, we haven't gotten a Kingdom Hearts game in years, let's talk about the potential show to kind of kickstart excitement again. You have different games that are maybe delayed, like Missing Link, which we talked about a week or two ago. It's just interesting to see that the secrecy around Kingdom Hearts, I think, is one of the reasons why you see these rumors constantly come back every couple of years. It could be true. There could actually be some kind of show. There could be some kind of new product coming out. But even looking back at 2024 with Kingdom Hearts 4, Haley Joel Osment had even mentioned that, he wasn't really even aware of what was going on with Kingdom Hearts 4, and he was the English voice actor for Sora. So it's not like Square or any of these companies really go out of their way to keep everyone in the loop. Even people who allegedly work, or even in this case confirmedly work, around these series are sometimes just kind of left in the dark until years later when they get a call saying, hey, you got work. I don't know. I'm interested to hear your thoughts down below. Could it happen? Absolutely. And I do want to take a look at that rejected original TV series pilot, talk about it some in a way that I can without getting in trouble copyright-wise with Disney, who's very protective of their stuff. But it's almost like Disney wants to bite off more than it can chew with all these properties sometimes. And then in the case of that, they don't know what to do with it. So then it's just constantly coming back up for 20 years. And I kind of wonder who at Disney even wanted to see that pitch originally. Who at Disney wanted a Kingdom Hearts show? Because you wouldn't get a pitch and like an entire premise built without at least contacting someone and saying, will you look at this? Nobody would take the time to do that. So it's like somebody said, hey, that would be an interesting idea. Then you have an entire pilot made, not the full episode, but like the animatics and stuff. And then it went nowhere. And then somehow that on its own kickstarted this web of rumors for the last few decades. It's just fascinating to look at the butterfly effect around that. Like, none of those rumors might have happened if that pilot had never even been considered at all. I don't know. Interested to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, you want to leave a like, subscribe, let me know what you think down below. We do have a store, which is cosmobunny.shop, where you can support our channels by getting coasters, keychains, trays, and more made from recycled paper. So what we do is we take comic books, manga, magazines, books that are damaged, we repurpose them, we recycle them, save some of that paper, and turn it into something new, transformatively in a new medium actually, in these coasters, keychains, trays, and more, and then we recycle the rest. And of course, as well, we do have our own Fortnite code, which is DJAY123. And speaking of that code, that gets you 10% off your first purchase on cosmobunny.shop. So you want to support us, maybe you're getting something on Fortnite, helps us out. You want to maybe check out the store, use that code over there, helps us out. Have a fantastic day. As always, everyone, stay shway.